Hey, hey, hey. Hey. Hey, everybody. I am back with another podcast episode. I do apologize for not putting these out as much as I originally said I would, but a lot of things have been going on lately. Just been lots of traveling and had some people over. We'll talk about a lot of it, actually. And some new stuff that we've been focusing on in Destiny for sure. But as you guys know, these podcasts really aren't video game related. They're more just kind of real relatable talk like the streams. The reason that these started, if this is your first one, is a lot of people wanted to just continue to hear stories and stuff like that from the streams. Outside of just gaming and stuff like that. So that's why we started these, but I believe this is episode 3 of the revamped version. So this would be episode 7 overall, I think. And that does not include the podcast that I've been on. I actually have one coming up. You guys should stay tuned. So IGN's Fire Team chat. I'm doing one on Friday, so not tomorrow, but the day after. I'm recording this on the 24th of July, 2019. If you guys follow IGN's podcast, Fire Team Chat, Destiny one, you should definitely check that out. I'm not sure what episode I'll be or when they will air that, but stay tuned for shortly after the 26th, I guess, is when we're recording it. But I'm excited, man. I've never been there before. I've been on a couple of Destiny community podcasts, and I'll be on a couple other community ones as well by just some other community members. So I'll keep you guys posted and everything on Twitter, and I'll post anything that comes up. But yeah, how's everybody doing, man? I mean, I know I'm not going to get a response because I'm sitting here talking to myself, but I hope you guys are doing well. So yeah, let's talk about what's been up lately. Let's go in like chronological order here. So since my last podcast, what was the big thing that happened? I took like a week off to go to Austin. So my buddy David, who I met in, I want to say 4th grade, I think it was 4th grade. So I've known him for a really long time, and I consider him, my best childhood friend growing up. Gone through a lot with him. It's actually funny because my mom married an Army recruit guy. So he was an Army recruiter. So if you're familiar with, if anybody has parents that married somebody in the Army, you have to relocate and travel a lot and stuff like that. So we had to travel out to this tiny little fucking town in the middle of Pennsylvania when I was in 4th grade. I had to like leave all my friends. It sucks, man. Like nobody wants to do that. And I move out there and, meet David. And I went to school out there with David 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade. I think I moved in 7th. It was either 7th or 8th. And then the same guy got transferred back closer to where I had originally moved from. So he'd only had like a couple years out there, 4 or 5 years or whatever. So we had to move back, which, again, super pissed because now I had met all these kids at the end of elementary school, beginning of middle school, and now I got to move back for middle school and high school. So it was, pretty challenging. But honestly, I didn't really have any trouble making friends. I never had any trouble making friends. If anything, it was a bittersweet thing. Like, I hated moving and leaving all my friends, but at the same time, I enjoyed the adventure and the challenge of going, into a whole new area, into a whole new school district with a bunch of people that I didn't know. And I just always have liked putting myself into situations where I've been uncomfortable. And it's funny, I'm still very much like that. After college, I just keep moving farther and farther west, and I keep moving by myself, and I don't move with anybody, friends, family, nothing. I live by myself. I don't do serious committed relationships. Never have my entire life been in one. So I often wonder if the moving constantly as a child to different schools. You know, like I pretty much went to 2 elementary schools, 2 middle schools. I guess I only went to 1 high school, so I didn't have to move mid high school. But I had, you know, every other type of school. I don't even know the correct word for that. I had multiple versions of it. But I often wonder, you know, now that I think about it, do you think that developed me as a person to continue to move around, and every time I get comfortable in an area, just move? Ah, dude, that's such a theme for my life, man. It's such a theme. Like, you know, I guess going back to the relationship thing too. Like, dude, it's so weird. Get comfortable somewhere, move the fuck away. Get the fuck out, start something different. I guess I just get bored with everything that I do, and it's always exciting introducing new stuff into my life. No, it's been like that with jobs, and it's crazy. I guess the only really consistent thing in my life is just health. Like, I've always been very much into staying healthy, feeling good about myself, feeling confident, eating healthy, working out. That's just been something throughout my entire life that's been very consistent. Just because it's like, you know, not being in shape, and we're gonna dive into this later because a question that a lot of people ask about, you know, a lot of people ask me that I answer over and over and over, and I'm just gonna kind of give a little bit more detailed is about what I do to stay in shape as a gamer. You know, how do you game so much all the time and stream and YouTube and all this shit, but you stay in such crazy shape for somebody in their 30s? So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, so let's not get too sidetracked here. I do try to keep these an hour and a half. David? Yeah, so I leave David, and when I left David, he was always like the smaller kid of the group. He was always real, you know, just didn't mature like physically, you know what I mean? Just looked really fucking young. Had no growth spurts when I last met him leaving middle school. So we're going to college, and I pick a tiny little private school in Pennsylvania, which was close to me, but this was about 4 hours away from David. And when I put on Facebook that I was going to that school, a lot of people on Facebook, this is back when I used Facebook, they DM me and they were like, dude, you do know that David is going to the school, right? And I was like, no fucking way. So I hit him up and I was like, bro, are you actually going to the school? Like, you're 100%? He's like, oh yeah, dude, I'm already, like, my shit's already packed. I'm ready to go. I'm moving on to the dorms. I decided my very first semester not to do the dorms. So I was like, I live so close, like, fuck the dorms. Huge mistake, by the way. So I go to orientation and I'm standing there and I see this dude standing next, like in the line next to me, orientation on the giant football field, like thousands of kids. We're all just standing there. You know, they had like a big introduction parade, whatever, you know, typical stuff that colleges do. And I look over and I see this dude and it just looks like a buff, like scruffy version of what I remember from David. I didn't really know what he looked like that much, at least not in person. I mean, people on Facebook look different than they do. And I was like, yo, David. And he looks at me and he immediately recognizes me because I matured like early. And I was like, bro, and we got out of line and we like gave each other a big hug. And then I was like, tell me where your dorm is. So I met him at the dorm, and then I don't think I've ever like just had such a long conversation with somebody just continuously. I went back to his dorm and we called up from basically all of middle school and all of high school and all the way up to the point where we are now. And it was actually really cool, and all the stars aligned there. And then he ended up being my roommate actually sophomore, junior, and senior year. We were not roommates. Freshman year, my first semester, I hated the fact that I had to commute, even though it was like a 10-minute drive. So I basically just stayed in people's dorms all the time, every single weekend. And then I told my mom, I was like, Mom, this is ridiculous. And I moved on my second semester freshman year. So technically I did live on campus for 4 years, kind of, but one semester was at home. So move on to campus, man. If you like chilling around people, and especially if you're like a partier and a big a butterfly, as they call it. Social moth. I'm a social moth. what's good with, dude, I had a moth in my apartment the other day, and what did I call it? Like an ugly butterfly, a wannabe butterfly. But then I realized moths can actually be fucking beautiful. Like those exotic jungle moths or whatever. I don't even know if jungle moths are a thing. I could have totally just made that up. But yeah. So anyway, Austin, he moved to Austin. I moved to Colorado. He has visited me in Colorado, it was like 2 times or whatever, and he's been giving me a lot of shit to go to Austin. So I finally, you know, and I guess the reason I didn't visit him is because of all the stuff that I went through when I was trying to get my gaming situation set up. You know, I went through a lot of lows, just a lot of doubt and hardships, and wasn't able to pay rent for a while, and I just didn't have the resources or the money or the time or anything to really go visit him. So I just kind of made a bunch of excuses. And then last year was really good for me streaming wise, so I said, dude, I'm good. I like saved up some money, let's go. Let's, you know, I'm ready to take some time off, because I hadn't really taken any time off in 2018. So I go to Austin. They're super happy to see me, and I'll be honest, man, they showed me a fucking wonderful time. I just have nothing but great things to say. By they, I mean David and his girlfriend Sonia. You know, she's amazing, and she's just been nothing but a great addition into David's life, and has shown him a lot of fun times. You know, I know it's a two-way street, but I can definitely tell that Sonia really is a fun spirit, and you know, I couldn't be happier that he found somebody like her. So I got to meet all their friends. I met all sorts of people, and every single night was pretty much, we were just going somewhere to some like house on the lake to party and get fucked up, and you know, just super deep conversations. I definitely vibed and bonded with a lot of people. A lot of really good looking people too. A lot of, like, everyone that they hang out with is like good looking. The dudes are handsome. Everyone there wears, like, their fashion is a little bit different. I don't know if it's just the people that they hang out with, but they you know, the clothing is definitely skimpy, and it's a little bit different. Something that I remember seeing when I went out and partied in San Diego. It's like, yeah, people definitely skimp on the clothing here a little bit. Then the final day, we went out on a boat. So there's this successful guy that has his own business that is going through a divorce, and his wife is being crazy and trying to take all of his shit, even though it's completely his company. You know, watch out, fellers. Watch out. So we got on this boat, and you know, it's me, David, and Sonia, and a bunch of like friends that they have, you know, a mix between dudes and girls, and some of these girls are fucking hot as shit, and I remember at one point I was looking around, and I'm just like seeing all these girls, and I walk up to the dude who owns the boat. The dude is going through a divorce. I'm like, dude, and he's like, what's up, man? I'm like, you must love this. And he's like, what? I'm like, look around. You're just this guy, and you have all these fucking chicks, these sexy chicks on your boat. And he just looks at me, he's like, oh dude, I fucking love it. And I'm like, oh man, that must feel so good. So I bonded a little with him, and pretty much worked my way around, and just tried to, because, you know, I didn't know anybody. I had never met anybody before. So the way that I treat situations is, I'm a very, you guys know, I can be a very outgoing, spunky, hyper person for sure. You know, I definitely wouldn't consider myself a very quiet, dull human. But when I'm introduced into a massive group of people, like 20, 30 people or whatever, I always make sure to, nobody likes a guy that just, like, that nobody knows, that just tries to steal the show and take all the attention. I kind of sit back a little bit. I tone myself down a little. I more observe and sort of get to know people individually, instead of trying to make a scene and become the center of attention. So that's kind of what I did. And later, when I ended up hanging out with people that I met from there, they were like, yeah, when we first met you, we thought you were like just really a little bit more quiet and shy and like conservative. And I was like, definitely not. I'm definitely not conservative. That's for sure. And I definitely would not consider myself quiet or shy. It's just, the environment that I was thrown in. I adjusted my behavior just a little bit because, and I think that's respectful. But so we go out there, and the whole time I'm out there, I'm like hyping up this Bass Nectar show. And I'm like, guys, you got to come to this Bass Nectar show. A couple select people that I thought might be interested in something like that. And I was like, the Bass Nectar show is what was it? A week after I had flown back from Austin. And this is his freestyle event that he does in Colorado, which is his best event in my opinion, because he doesn't play his typical music. He plays a lot of like random underground shit that you don't usually hear about. So I come back and trying to get a couple people to go. A couple people backed out, but got David, Sonia, and then Sonia's friend Leslie was one of the girls that I met when I was in Austin to come down. So snagged 3. So that's good. We'll chalk that up as a win. So they all come out. So they weren't able to make the first day. So Bass Nectar show 1 is normal the first day. Absolutely amazing. Sound quality, incredible. He did it at the First Bank Center. So the Austin people come up and 3 other people, I think. 3 other people come up to meet me, or Brian, Tyler. So 5 total. So Brian, Tyler, Leslie, Sonia, and David. They come up for the second day, so they're coming for 2 out of 3 days. So we're sitting here in my apartment, right? This is crazy. I've never seen anything like this before. And David messages me. David gets a message and says, dude, Bass Nectar's show just got canceled. The venue got shut down. And I'm like, no. And we look at the Twitter. They said that there's an emergency shutdown and the entire First Bank Center venue was not going to have a show for like a week or 2. So immediately we're like, what? So that means that both shows, Saturday and Sunday, Bass Nectar are canceled. So the whole community, the whole Bass Nectar community starts like freaking out. But it was really cool because they didn't really blame Bass Nectar, which I think is the important thing. Now, you got to put yourself in the shoes there. Bass Nectar and his crew, you got to imagine what they were thinking. They are freaking out. This is like a pinnacle show for them, a huge event all year, a lot of people's favorite event. And Bass Nectar knows that, and it's his more like gathering event. It's one of his gathering. So he has like a spring gathering, a summer gathering, fall and winter gathering, and they're supposed to be more like a tight knit family gathering of people instead of just like a big mainstream stage show. It's sort of the vibe of these types of shows. So, they're freaking out. The last thing they want to hear is everybody on the internet accusing them of, canceling the show or coming up with all these theories. People are saying that the people at the venue, sorry, shaking my G Fuel. Got my hydration fuel, baby. People are saying the people at the venue, didn't like us and all that shit. So what actually ended up happening is a piece of the scaffolding from the ceiling fell onto the floor. And I'm thinking, thank God that happened between the 2 days and it didn't happen when we were there. Can you imagine the catastrophe of a huge piece of whatever from the sea, whatever the fuck actually fell, falling down and landing on people and killing people? I mean, that's usually where we go. We go right dead center. Like, we would have been fucking croaked. So this is why Bass Nectar and his crew, nobody fucking does it like them. This is why he is the best. Just another reason. Obviously, I'm biased because I love the dude and he's my favorite. So his team tweets out